What's going on, everybody? Is what Calgary should be saying after that very frustrating loss. But it's I, Jacob, one of the Silver Plains sports analyst, and we have a lot to break down from this one. This was another gong show. If you're a BC Lions fan, well, you're happier than a pig and poop. You know what else makes me happy? Being with my amazing friends. Of course, we have Rick from Hamilton Sports Central.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
And we have the man who has a petting zoo in Wisconsin. It's Adam the Goat.
Not in Wisconsin.
Woo!
What is up,
for
my
JP?
guys? What is up, my dudes?
So, right away to the poll
Except for
question here.
Montreal fans, except for Montreal Canadiens fans, it is know what's up.
As you
you.
all know, the Calgary Stampeders have lost again. This is their fifth loss within the final 3 minutes of the season.
That's brutal.
They have six
Brutal,
losses,
brutal,
five of them
brutal.
are in the final 3 minutes. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how much trouble are the Calgary Stampeders in after another late game collapse? 1 to 2, not worried. 3 to 5, some concerns. 6 to 8, serious trouble. Or 9 to 10, season slipping away.
Season slipping away. They've been way too. It's been not been casual, but they're way too good to have lost these many games. And it's not even like I wouldn't even say it's a Vernon Adams problem, like a quarterback problem. It's a defense. Their defense can't seem to get stops in the final 3 minutes. And it's like, especially when you were winning this game.
I agree, Connor.
4.5 minutes left in this game, basically, when they score. 2.5 minutes later, you're down. 2.5 minutes later, you are back down again. Why? Why is your defense that quickly collapsing and giving up a touchdown 2.5 minutes after you just scored? They had turned over BC earlier in the fourth quarter, I think it was, from a kickoff after they just scored. I think it was literally their score with 4.5 minutes left. And it's like, you can't do anything. And it's like your defense can't get stops. Your season, you're done. Like it's going to be very hard to win.
And the tough thing is, when you look at Calgary, you've spent a lot of money on defense, and they created a lot of turnovers today. They won the turnover battle, but at the end of the day, this defense in the final 3 minutes, you cannot let that Justin McInnis play happen. That huge 50-yard rip on a second and long. You're in a position here to kind of put this game away. And you know what? Let's give Josh Love his flowers. I know he did throw the interception, but he was able to get the touchdown and the 2-point convert to give his team the lead. He did what he was supposed to do. The one interception was not a good read, but also too, he did drive down the field. And I want to say too, if you're Dave Dickinson, I wouldn't have even set up a play to throw the ball in the end zone on that play. I would have set a screen to Tyreek McAllister, and then if he couldn't punch it in, then I would have went to a throwing play on third down. Like, just don't put him in that situation. We got to get to some comment sections here. Dan saying, great game. BC needs a kick returner. I have been preaching this all season. The BC Lions are in desperate need of a kick returner. Uh-oh. Rick, you're wearing Argo blue, apparently. I think it's a nice shirt, Rick. I might have the same shirt, actually. It's quite nice. Maybe you stole my wardrobe. I'm just kidding. But no, the BC Lions come away with a victory. And
you know what? I'm going to do a Lane impression. There's my Lane impression. Luckily, there was nothing in the garbage can, though.
No, I will say, though, I think the BC Lions got a victory they absolutely had to have today. They found a way, and you got to give them credit. Nathan Rourke, when the chips were down, put up 2 very good drives, right? He had the rushing touchdown, and then he had the passing touchdown to Hatcher. But I honestly, I got to agree with this comment here, and it's not just Adams. If there's no Adams and no Mills, this team might be worse than Ottawa. Because their defense can't get a damn stop. They have receivers.
And Hamilton might get a win next week.
Sorry, Rick?
I said with no Mills and no Adams, Hamilton might get a win next week.
Well, lucky for Calgary, they're on a bye because, yeah, Calgary's in trouble. Calgary is in a lot of trouble right now, and it's not even that they're 4-6. It's that now BC has gone on a 3-game winning streak, and they're right back in the mix. If BC can somehow find a way to beat Saskatchewan next week, they're back in the mix for first in the West. Like, this is ludicrous, but you got to give the BC Lions a lot of credit. They found ways to win. I still think they need to clean a lot of things up. They need to pick a running back. They need to find a kick returner. Nathan Rourke needs to play a full 60, but they're finding ways to win football games at the end of the day. Yeah, fun fish, 100%. The Jays basically...
It's a must what? A must lose? Because Jacob, he could just mean a must lose. And you know what? That would be really weird if you were asking for
I would say for the Blue Jays, every 10, you got to win a bare minimum of 7, if not 8. That's got to be that's right now they're on pace to do that with what they've been doing of late. I know
20 plus at least.
Terrible loss day against the Red Sox, but at the end of the day, you still got 3 out of 4 against them, so they're giving themselves a chance.
Which is a better team.
Team worse than Ottawa, that'd be absolutely brutal. I mean, honestly though, Connor, without Vernon Adams Jr., I don't have a lot of faith in Josh Love, especially if Dedrick Mills is out as well.
Nobody is worse than Ottawa because Ottawa is just bad.
Sorry, Fun Fish. I gotta agree with Adam. A must isn't saying a must win or a must lose.
You didn't say anything. I'm being a smart ass because you posted a dumb comment. You posted something. You literally. This is the issue. If you're gonna post a dumb comment that doesn't finish a damn sentence, you've set me up to hit it out of the park and be a smart ass. And I'm telling you, every single time, I'm gonna be a smart ass. Jacob can tell you, I take every opportunity to be a smart ass because I love doing it, and it's tons of fun for me.
It's not true.
So
it's not true.
Don't do it again.
It's not.
You don't want me to be a smart ass.
It's not true.
I won't calm down. Okay, boo you because Montreal fans suck.
But really, man, I don't know.
Like anti-Montreal thing. I'm really riding this Montreal hater thing. I'm having a ton of fun doing it too.
As much as the BC Lions got a win today, there's some things that need to clean up, which leads in to everyone's favorite segment. Not their favorite game show. It's a favorite segment, Gas or Ass. Gas or ass? The BC Lions should trade or cut James Butler and sign Mario Alford. You have 2 basically starting running backs right now. Xander Horvath in 3 straight weeks has proven he's the better back. James Butler is getting too old. It is time to move on. And the kick return game for BC is atrocious. Yes, they won today, but that Barry Hill fumble could have been a disaster. Gas or ass?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jacob. I think after week 10, for the veteran contracts, that's guaranteed. So if you cut James Butler, you're still paying his $132,000 contract for the rest of the year.
So here's the thing, Rick. I'm not concerned about the salary. I'm concerned about the international spot as he's American. Either that or put him on your practice roster. Like, you're at the point, if you bring in a guy like Mario Alford, like, can we all agree BC's kick return game is hopeless? Like, yes, they won today, and that's great for BC.
Barry Hill's not a kick returner.
Well, but the problem, they don't have a kick returner. Barry Hill was the one who fumbled that one. Williams Sr. is a terrible kick returner.
I mean, Seven McGee's a returner, but he's on the injured reserve list.
Well, then you got to bring someone in. Like, their kick return game is hopeless. And even Seth McGee, no disrespect, it's not like he's a tier 1 returner. Like, they have the worst returning in the CFL, and that's a huge problem in this league.
Jacob, do they need? I'm playing devil's advocate here. Okay. Do they have to cut Butler to bring in Alford though? Is that something they need to do?
You either need to cut him or bench him, because with your ratio right now, you can't afford to have a special team guy.
No, so you have 2 options. You can either cut him or bench him. Those are your 2 options. easiest is probably to bench him. If you have to pay him anyways, you might as well just keep him around.
That's fair.
Like, if you have to pay him anyways, what's the point of even cutting him at that point? You're not saving anything by cutting him. You're just cutting a guy because if Horvath gets injured, who's going to be the guy who steps in then? That's the issue. It's that you're also opening up yourself to if Horvath gets injured, you're screwed. Butler hasn't been good, but you open yourself up to injury with cutting him just to bring in Alfred. If you don't have to cut him to bring in Alfred, don't cut him. There's no need to risk that. I would do anything but cut him and then bring in Alfred because you need Alfred at the end of the day.
So
you're not going to do anything. No matter how many more wins you stack up, not much is going to come from it if you can't return your kicks. Go ahead, Rick.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say was take out Dimament, Gadnak or Passant. Yeah, they're both national players. Take one of them out because do you really need 7 receivers in a game? You keep Butler. Mario Alford can be another receiver because he's technically a receiver anyways.
Yeah.
And then,
that's another option for sure.
Because then if Horvath gets injured, you still have Butler.
So maybe you don't cut him, but I just look at BC and I look at today's game. They were starting well below the 40 on every single kick return. You had a fumble on a kick return. You had a bobble on a punt return. You're getting terrible field position every game. It's just something for BC. Like if the Calgary Stampeders kicker hits that field goal, we're talking very different here, right? That touchdown, if he hits the field goal and the extra point, that touchdown would have tied the game instead of giving them the lead, right? So, I mean, I know he's just in there until Reddy Pereira's is back, but I mean, if you're Calgary, you're in trouble, and if you're BC, yeah, you found a way to win, but I still think the kick return game's an issue for the BC Lions, and Butler has been underwhelming. Yeah, Butler needs to go. We have to get a serious guy to return. Yeah, I just think I just in the NFL, you can get away without having a great kick return game because you only need 3 yards per play. In the CFL, because kick returning, the way the no yards rule is and the bigger field, you absolutely have to have a good kick return game. I can use Toronto versus Calgary last week as a prime example. If Grant doesn't get that touchdown, Toronto doesn't beat Calgary last week. Right? Like a good special teams and good kick returner can cover a lot of bad areas. The reason why Calgary got as many field goals as they did is because Tyreek McAllister kept starting them at midfield. Right? And I mean, you just need someone, I think, for BC to be able to take down teams like Edmonton and Saskatchewan. They're going to need a better kick return game. But yeah, they're always starting on the 15 to 20 yard line, and I think it's a major issue, Daniel, for the BC Lions. And I agree, Dan. The fair catch rule in the NFL sucks. I hate it.
Dan, I thought you were supposed to be going to sleep because you got to work. Go to sleep. Don't complain. Don't say you're going to go to sleep because you have to wake up early in the morning and then not go to sleep because you want to stay up and watch. Said joining. Dan.
Yeah, Dan, I'd agree. Rourke played better. I still need more out of him, but he played better.
Yeah.
I would say second half. I was going to say second half he played better. I wouldn't say he played
interception though. You can't be throwing that. Like it's either he's got to just take the sack or he's got to throw it earlier. Like that's a tough interception. Like I get it's a tough situation for him because of the pressure coming at him, but like you either got to try and throw it earlier or don't throw it at all. Find like you got to do something, but maybe not. Maybe throwing that wasn't the best option, but I understand why you threw it, I guess.
So here's something that you guys haven't mentioned yet. What did you guys think of the whole BC Lions challenging for that roughing the passer and then turn around and get a penalty thrown on them at the same time?
I thought it was a good challenge, even though it didn't go their way because it was close. I could have seen that being called either way. The penalty they took, you can't do, right? Like you basically just handed Calgary a touchdown, and you can't do that. I didn't mind the challenge. I don't think every challenge that isn't successful is necessarily a bad challenge. You were going to lose a timeout in a minute and a half anyways. I'm not totally against it.
I've never seen like where you go to challenge a penalty and then the refs turn around and call a penalty on you. I've never seen that before.
Very interesting.
And Daniel, the reason why they didn't call it roughing the passer, they said the initial contact was at his shoulders, not his neck. I actually thought it was going to get overturned, as I thought it was a horse collar personally, but that's the explanation what they gave on the broadcast. I don't know if I completely agree with it. Oh, to be honest, I think the Dietrich Mills hit that got him injured was a borderline clothesline. Not as bad as Justin Hardy when they tried to decapitate him a couple weeks ago, but certainly not good either, right? Was one thing CFL rules they missed. They should allow two. Honestly, I would hate it if they added more timeouts, and I'll tell you why. I think it slows down the game.
I don't know.
I mean,
I get what you're saying, drink in hand, but I personally.
If you really think about it, each team already has 4 timeouts. If you technically think about it, you have the 2 timeouts plus the 2 3-minute warnings. So you technically have 4 timeouts.
So drink in hand, what I would like you to do is type out why 2 timeouts per half would make the last 3 minutes in the first half more exciting. I want to hear Wait, but Jacob, I want to hear drink in hand's logic behind that. I would like to hear the logic behind it. Because I want to hear drink in hand's logic. I didn't ask for your logic, did I, Jacob? Did I say your name and ask you for your logic? I did it. But you can give it if you want to, because you're the boss anyways, I guess.
I have a drink in my hand now.
I don't know who died and made you king.
He's a self-proclaimed sports analyst. You should know this now, Adam.
So the reason why that could work is it would give teams right now don't want to use a timeout in the final 3 minutes in the first half because they know they'd only have one timeout for the rest of the game. If you can give them a timeout that they can use in the final 3 minutes, what it's doing, it's giving them a chance to take another timeout and potentially extend the final 3 minutes of a half. I'm not saying I like it personally because I think too many timeouts slow the game down. I think the NFL having 3 per half is just ridiculous. Like, I don't think you need 6 timeouts a game. But
how does that make the last 3 minutes more exciting?
Because it's going to give the offense a chance to take So I'll put it this way. So you're on the 20-yard line. You've just converted a first down. You didn't get out of bounds. There's 10 seconds left. If I can take a timeout, I have time for 2 plays, meaning I can take an end zone shot. If you don't have the timeouts, then you're kicking a field goal in that situation. Right, so it is giving you an opportunity to have one more extra play in the final 3 minutes because you're not gonna burn that timeout when you know you might need them at the end of the game. The only thing I could maybe see then is doing 3 timeouts for the whole game instead of 2. That I wouldn't be totally against. You still go down to 1 at the final 3 minutes of the second half either way, but it gives you an extra timeout to use for the game. Maybe that's a nice compromise. What is it? I think it's 3 per half. Daniel, I'm just going to double check that.
I think it is
timeouts? No,
it is 3 per half. Is it not 3 per half?
No, it's 2 per game, and then you get the extra 3-minute warnings in each half.
Yeah, so no, the NFL does have 3 timeouts per game.
In the NFL.
I mean, 3 timeouts per half.
In the NFL, it's
and then in overtime, each team gets an additional 2 timeouts. So you could have 8 timeouts in an NFL game.
Which is weird, which is so like.
Glad I answered.
I don't know. I don't think that makes it more exciting. Like, I get it, but it's an extra play. I don't know if an extra play makes it more exciting. I certainly wouldn't want 3 per half. 3 minutes. I don't think the end of an NFL game is very exciting. The end of NFL games are just freaking boring. I don't think having more timeouts for the last 3 minutes, will make it any more exciting than what it already is. Because the last 3 minutes is already exciting anyways at the end of at the end of the first and at the end of the game. It's already exciting enough as it is. Am I wrong, Jacob? It's already exciting enough as
I think it is personally. Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I don't think like the timeouts had nothing in the NFL. So what difference would it make in the CFL at the end of the day? Like,
timeouts just make the games drag on more.
Well, Drinking Hand, you didn't actually answer my question. Jacob answered my question. I asked you to answer it, and you didn't. So you know what? I would thank Jacob if I were you for answering a question, for answering what I asked you to do.
Great.
So you know
I do agree with you, Daniel, here.
Jacob, Drinking Hand, be better. You know what? Listen and be better. Be better.
Well said, Adam, from Isidore.
Thank you, Isidore.
Daniel, I do agree with you. It does take. Toronto has a similar issue. They don't start on time. And you can get by teams like Calgary that can't close. But if you do this against Edmonton or Saskatchewan, you're not going to win a lot of football games.
Jacob, you want to talk about Toronto not starting on time? We had 3 turnovers in our first 4 drives against Calgary. That's not starting on time.
But at the end of the day, Calgary and Ottawa are 2 teams that have found a way to lose when creating that many turnovers. So it's...
Drinking Hand, now I'm going to get more mad. I will not calm down. I will get more mad, and I will get more. No, I don't like to be told to calm down. I'm also not a boy, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I grew out of that. But I will check.
Also, too, I do want to...
I'm no longer what would be considered a boy, but okay.
I do want to mention, too, that let's everyone send their best vibes to VA. Hit his head pretty hard. And hopefully he's okay. It was good to see he was on the sidelines, because I think if it was a bad concussion, would be a lot worse if he don't think he'd be on the sidelines. But obviously we all hope nothing but the best for Vernon Adams Jr. because he's such a good guy and you want to see him be all right. Like, he's one of those guys that can... The league is better when all their top quarterbacks are in it, and we just hope for the best for VA. I think Calgary's very, very lucky to be coming on a bye week. But
did Calgary concussion? Well, they would have concussion tested him in the locker room.
They would have been
out there if he wasn't concussion.
Also, it looked like a neck injury to me.
Also, I antagonize the audience, but y'all keep coming back. The ones who I antagonize, y'all keep coming back. You specifically keep coming back.
Oh, we know it's all in good fun.
It's all a joke, and the more people take it seriously, the more I just end up doing it. If you guys just stop making it so easy, I'll stop doing it. It's the more fun I have, the more
I'll go back for Dan.
Yeah, but if you're saying I'm antagonizing the audience, well, you know what? You keep coming back despite how much I do it. But you know what? My room is messy, Drinking Hand. If my mom is, it's not to my knowledge, my room is just absolutely very messy. And I don't think my mom is doing a very good job as she's coming in here and cleaning my room. But I'm not 100%.
But no, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, the BC Lions now got that big win they need. They're now technically at the playoffs started today. They would be in the playoffs for the crossover, and Calgary now falls to the bottom of the West. And for Calgary's schedule, it's not like... I don't think they have a super easy schedule either coming up. Like, I know they play Hamilton coming out of the bye, but after that, then they have Edmonton. And that's certainly not going to be an easy game. Well, they play on my birthday. They play in Calgary on my birthday. Then they play Edmonton back-to-back.
What day
Then
is
they play Ottawa, August 29th.
Oh, no, what day of the week?
It's a Saturday, I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't pay attention to these things, Adam. I don't care.
It is a Saturday, Jacob. I just looked.
Good for me.
I could have just done
that. But no,
myself.
You look at Calgary, they do have Ottawa twice to close the year, Winnipeg once. But besides that, to close the year, they have Hamilton, which it depends how Frost is playing. But then they have Edmonton, Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, and BC to close out the year. Calgary does not have an easy schedule coming down the end of the season. And especially if VA's out, I will say this. I think if it's backup versus backup, I actually think Hamilton has a better chance of winning than Calgary does because Hamilton's defense is so much better than Calgary's. I'm surprised Rick isn't popping up in excitement of me saying that. But no, it's one of those things that I think for Calgary, without Vernon Adams Jr., you've been able to score. And without him, I don't know if you can. And that's going to be my big thing for the Calgary Stampeders is can this defense too that they spent a lot of money on. Like, it's interesting. I know Bobby tagged us on X, and if you're not following us on X, you really should be by now. And look, Calgary has spent so much money on defense, yet they can't defend. Like, you look, besides of even the games they're winning, they're giving up a lot of points. Like, you go to like when they completely destroyed the Toronto Argos by scoring 58 points, they still let Toronto score 36. The games they lost to Montreal, they allowed 38 and 37. When they beat Winnipeg by scoring 52, they still allowed 30. Like, when they lost to Saskatchewan, when they scored 37 points, they gave up 40. When they lost to Winnipeg earlier in the year, they gave up 30. Like, this team can't defend, and that's going to be a huge issue if VA's out long-term. And Daniel, I don't know if he's going to be out long-term. It could be a neck injury like Collaros, and he might be out 6 weeks.
Could be a concussion.
And if he's out, I don't think it's a concussion, Rick. I think if it was, and again, I'm not a doctor, but I think if it was, I don't think he would have stayed on the sidelines. But this is tough. Like, I really feel for Calgary because they had the Grey Cup there this year. He was out there right to the end of the game on the sidelines.
Was he out there from when he was hurt to the end of the game?
So he went from when he was hurt to the white tent and then back on the sideline without a helmet on.
Oh, okay.
But he had a towel wrapped around his neck and around his head. So something clearly was still bugging him. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry, Calgary easily could have won this game even without VA. Like, all their defense needed was a stop. And again, big up on the BC offense for being able to make some plays. But if Calgary continues to give up 30 or more basically every night, like, I'm just looking here, they've only given up less than 30 once. And that was to Hamilton in early August. And that's if no Bo Levi Mitchell. Like, so basically, if they face a starting quarterback, they're going to give up 30 plus.
So
they've given up mid-30s multiple times. They've given up 40 once. Even games they're winning when they're scoring 50 points, they're still giving up 30. This is a big issue in Calgary.
Calgary's defense is first in quarterback sacks, second in interceptions, second in turnovers, third in forced fumbles. Everything else, they're fifth or below, second bottom of the league.
So the crazy thing is, you would think if they're creating that many turnovers, it would be a good defense, but they're giving up way too many points. But it's very interesting when you compare it to other teams' defense. They'll give up a lot of yardage, but then they don't give up as many touchdowns. It's one of those weird situations in Calgary where even tonight, they created multiple turnovers, but they still let BC put up 30 points. They let Xander Horvath turn 1-yard runs into 10-yard runs. Like, my God, they had Horvath hopping on one leg and he still got 9 yards on the run. Like, there is some major concerns in Calgary, and maybe this is going to be another hot take. I still don't feel they've ever replaced Cameron Judge. When he left for Toronto 2 years ago, I don't think Calgary ever replaced him. And you really see it on that side on the linebacking crew. Like, they feel that defense is missing a true bona fide leader. That they have some talented guys on defense, but I just don't think they have anyone that is taking complete charge of that defense. Kind of like Hamilton after Lawrence left. They really needed a Winton McManus to bring in some leadership on the defense, and you've seen a difference in Hamilton. I think Calgary needs someone like that too to go in there and lead that defense. And Rick, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you can argue Moncrief, but I don't feel Calgary has anyone that's really leading the defense.
If I had to guess,
Horvath is a beast. I agree.
We got to bring up their depth charts for a second.
You know what, Rick? You know what I'll do for you? I won't because I took them out of here. I was just about to put up on screen. Then I'm like, oh, I did delete them already.
I would say if they had any leaders on defense, I'd say more of Hutchinson, Odermatt, and maybe Moncrief. Those are your 3 leaders on defense, if anything.
But I just wonder then, is no one taking over? Because the defense to me just looks so disoriented out there. Like when I watch him, I don't know, especially Flo. I've seen quite a few good years of Flo. I love him. He's a great player. But like maybe he's not just a leader. And maybe none of those guys are really leading. I don't know.
It's weird because they've caused 7
now the Lions
turnovers.
are in it. Yeah, they are.
They've got 7 turnover or what? 8 turnovers in their last 2 games, but just can't close out a game. It's weird.
And they lost both. It's crazy.
Your defense is good enough to cause 8 turnovers, but you can't close out a game like that. That's where the concern is. Like the defense can play well. They just can't close out a game, which is, of course, probably the most important part of their job. But like at the end of the day, like something's got to change defensively because this is ridiculous. Because obviously
100%.
their defense is talented enough. Like it's obviously talented. You don't cause 8 turnovers without having some sort of talent. Like and your defense
just can't.
Good.
They just can't seem to get the big stop in the big moment. Like it's weird too. You look, this is back-to-back games where in the final 3 minutes they let a huge explosive offensive play basically kill them. You think about the Kelly to Coxie throw in the final minute of the game in Toronto. That basically gave Toronto the win. And then you look at the big throw from Rourke to McInnes. That basically gave BC the win. I understand what you're saying, Adam, that their defense can create turnovers. And I mean, don't get me wrong, that's great. But if you can't get the big play in the right moment, it doesn't really matter. And I also got to blame the offense a bit too as well. Like, I don't think they did a good job playing complementary football. They'd get turnovers and then they'd only get field goals and with great field position, or they'd miss the field goal. But then the offense gets a lead, gets a touchdown, gets a 2-point convert. The defense allows the score for BC to take the lead again. It just seems like it's not good complementary football in Calgary right now, and it's hard to win without complementary football. Does Calgary win this game with BC with VA in? Maybe.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, they should have been able to win without him. And for BC, I agree with Daniel. If they can somehow beat Saskatchewan next week, the West is wide open. No offense, I don't think they will. Woo!
You know what's interesting?
Jays got their butts kicked tonight, Daniel. They lost 7-0.
How this game plays into tomorrow's game.
Yeah, because now you have Winnipeg, and they're on a bit of a hot seat now too, right? Like if we go and look at the standings after tonight, which breaking news, the CFL website is actually updated because that's a 50-50 shot.
And I know we're not sponsored, as Jacob said, but we could. Has anyone checked out the Score app as of late? 10 times better than what it was.
Yeah, actually Lane was telling us about that on our episode last week.
Because it gives you like up to the play updates as they're happening.
So if you're Winnipeg here, right, you have a good chance to actually start to try to catch Edmonton and Saskatchewan. And if you lose, now you and BC are neck and neck. Like this is a huge game for Winnipeg. They're playing Ottawa. They should beat Ottawa, but Ottawa did almost beat them earlier in the year.
Jacob, we talk about Calgary's defense, and we talk about Calgary's offense not being good enough. I think the main concern should be that they can't freaking win at home. They're 1-4 at home. You're not doing anything if you can't win at home. Sorry, you're donezo if you can't win at home. I say that as a person who's watched their team, i.e. the Leafs, a couple years ago when we knocked off Tampa Bay, we couldn't win at home. We won 1 game in those playoffs, I think, at home that year. Like, that's embarrassing. Like, you're not going to win anything if you can't win at home. It's the same in any sport. If you suck at home, you're not going to win anything because you have to play half your games at home.
Crazy is how bad Winnipeg's been at home. Like that's the
even
shock.
Winnipeg, like it's obvious. Like Winnipeg's
their crowd's rocking every
4
week
because they can't win at home, nor can they, and they can only win away. And I'm like, you're not going to do anything. You're going to suck. Your record's not going to be great. if you don't,
we look at
you can't
Edmonton,
win
for
them.
example,
Like,
they have been, arguably in the top tier teams all year, and they're 3-1 at home, right? That's huge. And even when you go and look in the East, right? Like you have Montreal, that's a perfect 5-0 in Montreal. Toronto, 1-0 at home because we finally got a damn home game. Hamilton, I think, again, if it wasn't for the Mitchell injury, they'd be in a better position with home games. But, like, I just mean here, when you're looking at Winnipeg, when they play Ottawa this week, Winnipeg's just got to make sure they show up with their A game and don't let an easy win slip away. And I know everyone's saying, oh, well, they won't lose to Ottawa. Ottawa's got to win a game at some point. And I know Zach Claros is back, but even under the Claro offense, it's not like that offense was really electric.
Ottawa
like Winnipeg's offense has been
Winnipeg. That's the thing.
Yeah, it was close last time.
Like that, but like that's a little bit different now with Caleros coming back in. Be interesting to see what Winnipeg looks like with Zach Caleros back in there. But at the end of the day, Ottawa are just bad. Like, I'm sorry, the only game they were winning against Winnipeg and they still lost. They were winning by double digits and still lost. Sorry. This win, as the weeks go by, it's kind of just like this win is just not coming because they don't know how to win. That is the best way to describe Ottawa Redblacks football, is that they don't know how to win football games, which is scary because they won 4 of them last year. They don't know how to win football games, clear as day. Their quarterback doesn't know how to win football games. Their coach seems to have forgotten how to win football games. Their offensive coordinator doesn't know how to win football games. The defensive coordinator doesn't know how to win football games. Their running back doesn't know how to win football games. Their defense doesn't know how to win football games. Their fan base doesn't know how to win football games. Their city doesn't know how to win football games. Their government doesn't know how to win football games. Nobody in the city of Ottawa knows how to win football games. And you know what? At the end of the day, that's not going to change until they until they learn how to win football games, until they learn how to do it, they're not going to win anything.
Call me crazy.
It's just not good.
I think tomorrow's going to be the day that Ottawa wins their first game because
you know what?
Winnipeg only beat them by 2
If they do it, it has to be tomorrow. Like it's only going to continue to get worse. Like it's only going to become harder if they don't win soon. They're never going to learn how to win. Like they have to do it. It has to be tomorrow, or I think this season just becomes. It's going to spiral.
Well,
it's already spiraled, but they're not going to. I feel like if they don't get it either within the next 3 weeks, they're not going to win a football game this year.
So,
because at that point, it's just they're not learning. They're not
learning. The funny thing is, like, I don't even feel Ottawa necessarily plays terrible every game. They just can't find ways to win. When Winnipeg, on the other hand, I find they win games that they probably shouldn't, to be completely honest. And I am curious to our Winnipeg Blue Bomber fans, and I'm going to throw this to you, Rick, because we'll talk more about Winnipeg tomorrow in the pregame show. But Tommy Condell has put up the second worst offense in the CFL, only behind Ottawa, which I know you called, and Winnipeg fans were not happy when you said that about Tommy Condell. But I don't know if you heard Tommy Condell's quote where he said he's confused why the offense isn't scoring. And I was kind of speechless because I'm like, because you caved to pressure from your whiny star players. I don't know, Rick, how you feel about that with Tommy Condell.
So, Daniel, just to let you know, a really good friend of mine is a Ticat or Bombers season ticket holder, and I've already told him, listen, the moment that you guys don't make the playoffs, you guys lose to Ottawa, and you guys don't make the playoffs, I'm ordering you a Fire Condell t-shirt.
Oh, if Winnipeg loses tomorrow?
Oh, buddy, if Winnipeg loses tomorrow, I'm not letting them live down that day. I'm going to be bugging them every day.
So, Winnipeg fans, if you guys don't win tomorrow, as I've explained further whenever we do videos with Jacob's ranking system, and it's not the analyst, it's just Jacob personally. you will go below Ottawa. I don't care how bad Ottawa's been. The team who loses, to Ottawa, it doesn't matter which one. They stay below Ottawa the rest of the season. They are not allowed to be above Ottawa again because you lose to the worst team in the CFL and a team who hasn't won a damn football game and sucks as bad as Ottawa does. You deserve to be below the worst team in the CFL. You deserve to never go above them for the rest of the season. That includes Montreal. If Montreal does it,
Adam,
you send them straight to the bottom.
Adam, I have a follow-up question.
If Toronto does it, Rick, guess what? They go straight to the bottom.
I have a follow-up question for you, Adam.
There's no favoritism here.
So does that mean that if Greg Bell gets like 80 plus rushing yards, they go down to the bottom too?
Yes.
I will say though, you know what?
Let this game be close. They go to the bottom.
You know, I will say though, I got an interesting reply on X when I posted the show with Greg Bell, and someone did make a good point on Greg Bell, and I'll pull up their exact. So
is his name John Murphy or
John Murphy? Get Rick riled up.
So it was this was on the John Bell. Disagree. He doesn't get utilized properly. People forget that the OC has to actually create opportunities for him to run the ball, and players need to actually block so he can get upfield. That's a fair point. Like an extremely reason. This is from Rider Girl for Life. So thank you, Rider Girl for Life, if you're watching the show, and if you're not, well, you should be.
Question.
But like, yeah, I actually do agree to a point that like you look at a lot of the runs and the Red Blacks blockers are literally going the wrong way.
So then that means that you should be cutting every offensive lineman.
Cheers, drinking hand.
On the team. And start from scratch.
At this rate, maybe.
Because if you look at it last year.
DJ Allen. John Allen, sorry.
The way that you look at it last year he had 1,000 yards and we were getting him every possible yard he could want last year.
Because Greg Bell's got explosive speed. It's just
Jacob,
Rider Girl for Life does have an interesting point. Go ahead, Adam.
Jacob, it's not CFL related. I'll get to my point about Mr. Greg Bell. I do want to point out something that's really funny that I just saw. The Jays suck today, and the Jays need to win a lot of games. I want you to give me a guess without looking. How many games do you think they're behind in the wild card right now after tonight?
3.
Okay.
5.
I'm legit not looking it up.
They're 2.
They're 2?
They're 2 games back of a wild card, and we're talking about their next 3 series being a must-win, and they're 2 games back of the wild card. Is insane to me. My point about Greg Bell, and then I'll get to this because I love this. But Greg Bell, it would help if his team knew how to block. They seem to know how to block each other. I think that's a bonus. They know how to block each other, so they know how to block. They just don't know how to block the people that are in the different colors to them. Not skin colors, everybody. Their colors on their jerseys. Okay. Just wanted to make that clear. It was a little bit confusing to everybody, including you, Jacob. I know things get confusing for you sometimes. You know what? And you know what? If they learned how to do it for to the other team instead of blocking Greg Bell. And then Charlie. Yes, but you guys have already beaten them once. And I know Jacob says, well, it's hard to beat 2 teams twice. Well, Ottawa just sucks in general. They're 0-8. At the end of the day, you lose to an 0-8 team.
I agree. Hit that like
you're worse than the 0-8 team. I'm sorry. You go negative $2 million. Yeah. Ottawa's bad. You can't lose to Ottawa when you have your starting quarterback back.
I don't know, but like I've defended Ottawa a bit, and I know I've been called out for it, but I don't feel the Red Blacks are as bad as their record, and I know I get called out for it. There's been a lot of games that have been winnable that they've just found ways to lose. Versus Winnipeg, I'm going to use them as an example. With all their championship pedigree, Mike O'Shea is clearly a much better coach than Ryan Dinwiddie. Maybe not in Grey Cups, but in the regular season. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are doing a great job finding ways to win games. Well, Ottawa just seems to find ways to lose. But interesting. I just want to quickly point out a note too, and this is an exciting thing for some Blue Bombers fans. Chris Streveler is going to be at the game tomorrow.
Ooh,
I don't know what he's doing there besides hanging out at the Rum Hut.
Damn, Rick.
But
Rick
I don't know. You know what? I actually like Chris Streveler. I follow him on social media.
Oh, he seems
platforms.
like he's a good guy, Jacob. I want to throw something that you said earlier back into your face. I want to throw something that you said earlier because you said earlier. So you said earlier that it doesn't matter how many turnovers the Stamps defense cause because if they can't get they can't get the late crucial stop. It doesn't really matter. Now, my point to that, I'm going to throw it back in your face because you say Ottawa hasn't been as bad as their record. But Jacob, it doesn't matter how they play because the only thing that matters is what's in the dub and the L column. And Jacob, I would like you to tell me what is their record, what is in the dub and the L column?
It's 0-8. I know.
Jacob, they're 0-8. So that means, what does that mean, Jacob? I want you to say it along with me. Ready? I'm going to count down.
Ottawa's not good.
Wait, Jacob, I'm going to count you down. We're going to say it together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. They suck. It doesn't matter how well.
Okay, okay. No, but hold on.
It doesn't matter how much how well they play.
If we're throwing shades on Jacob, hold on. I want my turn. Adam, when me, Jacob, and Dan did the predictions at the beginning of the season, you know what Jacob gave Ottawa? A 7-11 record.
Ooh.
Yeah, I thought Ottawa would be bad, but not this bad. I guess the difference is, though, Adam, you're comparing a team going into the... I thought they'd be better than last year. I really did.
I mean, but he did say they were going to finish last in the division. So I'll give him that.
But the thing is, though, when you're comparing Calgary to Ottawa, and just because that's the example you used, the Calgary Stampeders going into this year were a legitimate Grey Cup contender. Ottawa was expected to win more than 3 games. That had to be the threshold because last year they only won 3. So it's no, but hold on. It's kind of like I got called out for saying the San Jose Sharks are not a good team on social media, which they're not. But it's kind of comparing the San Jose Sharks to the Colorado Avalanche and saying, well, they both had this problem. Yeah, but San Jose isn't expected to win a Stanley Cup right now. Colorado is. The Calgary Stampeders are expected to actually go on a Grey Cup run. Ottawa was expected to win more than 3 games, unless you're Dave Naylor. He seemed to think that Ottawa was going to win the division. Hold on. I got to reply to this. I'm sorry. Ryan Dinwiddie is the GM. He's the GM and the coach and the offensive coordinator.
But Jacob,
go ahead, Adam. Hi.
Why did you just put words into my mouth? I didn't compare the 2 teams.
Yes, you did.
No, Jacob, you didn't listen. I said the first thing I said to you is I'm going to throw your point you made earlier back into your face. I used your point to say that Calgary's it doesn't matter how many turnovers Calgary gets. If they can't get the final stop, it doesn't matter. Their defense didn't play well enough in that game. I used your point to throw back into your face after you just said Ottawa has been better than their record. But guess what? Because I used your point that it doesn't matter how well they play. Because if they don't get the win, it doesn't matter how well you played. You still lost the game. I used your point for Calgary to say that their defense, despite the turnovers, hasn't been good enough to throw it back into your face about you saying Ottawa's been better than what the record is, because they haven't been. They still lost 8 games. It doesn't matter how well you play. So Jacob, so at the end of this season, in a year's time, you're not going to come on here. You're not going to come on here and be like, guys, you remember how well Ottawa played? No, you're not, because their record, because all people are going to care about in a year, in 5 years, is that their record was whatever the record is at the end of the day.
Was worse than last year.
It's going to be their story. It's not going to be how well they played in individual games.
I don't know why the Sharks got down on Nurse.
They're still 0-8. They're still not good. It doesn't matter how well they played in games, though. Jacob. I'm using your point against you, and you don't get that. You're still not getting it, Jacob.
But I'm saying though, you're saying I said it about Calgary because I had high expectations for Calgary this year. If I remember right, I said Calgary would be fighting for the top of the division. I said Ottawa would be fighting for the basement of their division. The difference is Calgary is a team that is expected to push for the Grey Cup. Ottawa was expected to win more than 3 games.
But Jacob, you're still not getting what I'm saying, though. You're still not getting it. So I'm going to keep explaining it to you.
No, I get it. Ottawa's bad. I don't disagree.
No, Jacob, you're going to listen to me. You're going to listen to me. And, okay, you can just leave, I guess. I'll explain it to Rick. Okay, no, Jacob. Okay. Are you going to listen to me, Jacob, and be serious about this and actually try to understand what I'm saying? Okay.
Rich agrees with you, Adam.
Okay, so Jacob.
This is funny.
Last year, if the Leafs lost a hockey game, okay, let's take the Leafs. Okay, that's not a good example because the Leafs just suck all year anyways. But, so if Ottawa plays well, but loses a game, have they lost the game? They've lost the game. Am I correct? Okay.
Yep.
So if they've lost the game and they've lost 8 games, what does that mean? Well, what is Ottawa? Is Ottawa...
They're bad.
They're bad. Okay, yeah. But them playing well...
They're bad.
So them going up 17 against Winnipeg doesn't mean anything because they lost the game.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what their expectations were ahead of the season, Jacob.
Yes, it does.
Them playing well doesn't mean anything. Them playing well but Jacob, playing well in games but still losing doesn't mean anything because you've still lost. Losing, you've still lost. It's nothing at the end of the day. These guys are not going to take anything away from playing. Playing well is good for confidence. But at the end of the day, you still lost, so you still suck.
So are you telling? So then, Adam, no, hold on. Just answer this yes or no, because this is always your favorite thing to do to everyone else. Answer this yes or no.
I love this.
Yes or no. Can you learn from losing?
Yeah. I said that. I literally
hold on. I said yes or no. So you told me at Ottawa, you cannot say that they're better than the record or they're improving because a loss is a loss. Now I agree with the last couple of weeks. You could argue they've actually gotten worse, but you can learn a lot even from a losing season. Look at the Toronto Argonauts as a prime example. They're 1 win away from tying their win total last season. You can learn a lot you learn more from your failures than your successes. If Ottawa can actually learn and try to figure out a way to put it together for a full 60. This season's a write-off. I think Ottawa's just playing for next year. And if you're Ottawa, you just got to try to find out what works. And if I'm Ryan Dimwitty, I'm cutting. When Rick said you cut the entire offensive line, Rick, I'll answer it. Yes. I'm telling the entire offensive line to go home. You're drunk.
So, Jacob, I have a question for you now. So, if you're saying, do people learn from their mistakes? I'm going to say no, because Ottawa is still making the stupid decisions for turnovers and turning the ball over on 3rd and 3rd inches, and their offensive coordinator head coach always decides to go freaking shotgun on 3rd inches, and it does not work, and they still do it over and over again.
So, Jacob, I do agree. I never said that they couldn't learn from losing. I didn't say that. If I did, that's another thing. If I did say it, I did say it.
You did say
it. You did, but that's okay.
Oh, I did.
I'm just making shit up now.
Okay, well, they're not learning from losing, is what I should have said. Maybe
they're not at the moment. I do agree.
They can learn, but you can learn from losing. I do agree. I do agree with that point, but they're not. That's the thing. So if you're learning from losing, that's one thing. But they haven't learned anything. You go up 17 against Winnipeg, and then the next 2 weeks you suck. You just played. They played. But Jacob, let me finish with what I'm trying to say. They outplayed Winnipeg. I think you could say, Jacob, they outplayed Winnipeg for a lot of that game. They outplayed Winnipeg.
4th quarter.
But then except for the 4th quarter, yes. But they didn't learn from throwing away that game, because then they sucked the next 2 games. They didn't take. It's one thing to lose and take the lessons from the next game and improve on those. That's one thing.
I agree with that.
But that's one thing. But the issue is becoming they're not taking. Dinwiddie and that coaching staff is not taking the lessons to learn from that game. Neither is the team, because the team can do that. That is not something the coaches have to tell them to do. That is something that professional football players, professional athletes, and athletes in general should know to do. You should know to learn from your mistakes. That isn't something a grown-ass person should have to be told to do.
So
they're not taking the lessons from these games. The O-line's not taking the lessons. The defense is not taking the lessons. And they're not expanding. They're not taking the lessons, learning, and trying to improve on that, because they keep making the same damn mistakes. And it keeps becoming the same issue. And it doesn't feel like they've improved since that Winnipeg game. As you said, Jay, it feels like they've gotten worse. And it's like, it would be one thing if I just said they suck, but they've been learning and they've been getting better. But it feels like their best game has been their game against Winnipeg. That's their peak. That's something that you should be learning on, and you should be, even if you're losing, continuing to work on the things that worked for you in that game. But they haven't been. I would come on here and say Ottawa's hasn't sucked as much because they've been improving, but they haven't been improving. I do agree that they haven't played horror. They haven't been as bad in a lot of their games as, like, they've been played decently.
They're not getting blown out every game.
But they're not learning. It doesn't matter if you don't get blown out.
I agree, but
at the end of the day, but you got to learn from your mistakes.
I agree to a point, but the only thing I do want to point out with this is, so this is just yes or no. Were the Edmonton Elks bad last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did Edmonton do? They learned from those mistakes.
Yeah.
They figured out where to improve, and now they're potentially a top 3 team in the CFL.
They signed half of Hamilton's offensive line is what they did.
Well, yeah, but that's also learning from your mistakes from the previous season. They learned their old line was the number one issue. Cody Fajardo was sacked over 50 times last year.
But they won.
But I'm saying, Ottawa's gotten worse from last year to this year. I would agree. But at the same time, and I'm not even the biggest Ryan Dinwiddie fan personally, but I'm curious to see after a year this year, because this year's a write-off to me, what he will do in the offseason. It's weird we talked about Ottawa, so it was a great conversation. And what he does to try to improve the team for the year after. I think this year is a total wash for Ottawa. They'll be lucky if they win 2 games at this point. But
Jacob,
if you can take your mistakes from this year, find the major issue, and fix them like Edmonton did. Edmonton realized their major issue was Trey Ford is not a starting quarterback. They didn't have an offensive line, and they needed one better wide receiver. So what did they do? They gave Cody Fajardo the keys to the castle. As Rick said, they went and stole Hamilton's offensive line, and they signed Austin Mack. They fixed their issues. If you're Ottawa, next year you go out and you sign either Kelly or Arbuckle, which whoever leaves Toronto next year, I think is going to go to Ottawa. You go out and improve the offensive line, and you bring in a defensive coordinator that has a functioning brain. I think Ottawa can be better next year. That's all I'm kind of trying to get at.
Yeah. But Jacob, I have a question. So I'm going to throw back to what you said that I like to do. I'm going to answer this, but I want to ask you this. And I want to ask you this question because I fully get your point. I know what you're trying to say. Do you think Edmonton learned last year? This is specific to last year, not just this year. Do you think last year Edmonton learned and improved on certain things last year, which has led to their success this year? Do you think there was improvement game to game that they were actually trying to improve? Like the players were individually trying to improve. Do you feel like there was an attempt at it?
I think once they gave Cody Fajardo the job, the team improved. So,
okay.
Sure.
Okay. So I think that's learning though. That is the coaching staff learning and improving. My thing is, at the end of the day, I get what you're trying to say. This season is washed, but the issue becomes is that, yes, this season's washed, but that doesn't mean there is not lessons to improve on for the team next year to build confidence into next season. Because players on this roster are going to be on this team next year. You can't flip an entire roster in one off season. You can't do that.
I mean, you could if they're only signed for this year.
But yeah, so but there's going to be players who are on this team this year that are going to be on there next year. There is stuff that Dinwiddie, and it goes into what Drinking Hand said. Dinwiddie is clearly not as smart as you think he is, Drinking Hand, because Dinwiddie should know that there's lessons that this team should be learning now, because members of next year's team will not know how to win if they don't win a game this year. If Dinwiddie is not implementing the good things that he wants his team to be doing this year, if he continues down this path with just saying, "Oh, this season's washed," and there's nothing that this team should be learning at all, then guess what? This team, the players that come in next year are going to have a loser mentality that they already have this year. And it's like, but if they continue to improve and eventually get a win, that lifts their spirits, and their spirits are just going to be crap next year because they know, clearly he doesn't care enough to character building depth. Yeah, this is all character building for this team, but there are lessons from that Winnipeg game that this team should have been taking. And they didn't. Sure. I don't care if this season's washed, because as a coach, you should be looking the next year, yes, but you should also be saying, well, there's stuff to be learned. You can't wait to learn this stuff in the offseason with a whole new group. You can't.
Now, to Drinking Hand's comment here,
no,
it is true. Dinwiddie at one point won 2 Grey Cups in 3 years. Like, I am curious.
He also had Chad Kelly at the same time.
He also won with Nick Arbuckle, right? Like, at the end of the day, I think I'm not the biggest Ryan Dinwiddie fan. Even when he was in Toronto, I questioned a lot of things he did. But I'm curious to see what he does for the rest of this season. And to Adam's point, you do look at a team like Edmonton. No, I do. And this is where I'm kind of getting to. When you look at Adam, to your point, Edmonton last year, you saw steps. They went on a little bit of a winning streak to close out the year. They actually had a slim chance to make the playoffs. They didn't, but you saw hope. Right now in Ottawa, you don't see any hope. I will say this for Ottawa. If they can find a way to, even if they could go win 30% of their games for the rest of the year, you would see some hope for Ottawa. I think the goal has to be to try to win at least, how many games do they have left? 10? You got to hope you at least win. You got to hope you at least win 3 of them.
I will say this.
Go ahead,
I'm going back to your got to learn from your mistakes. You want to know what Ottawa's biggest mistake is?
Not hiring me.
Their quarterback. Do you know why their quarterback's the biggest mistake? The guy can't throw more. He's only twice this year. Last week and week 4. He's only thrown over 2 touchdowns. Twice. If you want to win games, you got to throw touchdowns. If you're not going to throw touchdowns, you're not going to win games. So if anyone's needs to look at themselves in the mirror, it's Jake Maier, because as long as he's not throwing touchdowns, Ottawa's not going to win, period.
So Jacob, I just want to make one more point, and then I'll be Jacob, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just want to say this before you go on. Can I say it before you go on?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, bud. You're good. You're good, bud. I'll fix my collar.
Let's go to the game that their best game this season. Would you agree is Winnipeg, Jacob?
Or Saskatchewan, but yeah.
They're their most recent best game.
Recently for sure.
Net offense, 420 yards. Their biggest thing they needed to improve on was that they were 2-6 in the red zone. Awful. Can't do that again. 34 points though. Okay, let's go to there. So they go on a bye week. And what should a coach normally do on a bye week? A guy as genius as Mr. Dinwiddie is look at tape and learn. And again, learn from your mistakes in the red zone, like not being able to go past, even gain a yard in the red zone. Can't do that. So you know what? You should run tape. and I would assume you learn. So they go into a game in which they played Montreal before, and it was a very close game at the end of it.
Oh, they got their
net offense was 375 yards. Okay. A little bit of a downgrade. They're playing one of the best teams in the CFL, but not bad at all. Not bad. Terrible rushing. Their red zone did not improve. They actually got worse. They were 1 for 5 instead of 2 for 6, whatever I said. That's worse. Consider like that's just a little bit worse. Okay, that's fine. You're playing a really good team in Montreal. The next week, they're playing Saskatchewan. Okay, another great team. Let's see some more improvement from that. Like, you took a little bit of a step back, but again, your offense was booming. They go back another 20-something yards, 353 on the net offense. Okay, still, that's pretty good. 350 yards is pretty good for a team that hasn't won any games. Their red zone a little bit better. 2 for 4, but still not as good as you want it to be. But 5 for 6 on the other side. Defense, not learning, not stopping, not getting the big stops, but they had 4 giveaways. But they're not gaining the points. Like, they're going back. They got back every game. They got a little bit more in that game. But it's like you play one great game, and then you play a terrible game against Montreal. So you take a step back. You play a so-so game, but your defense was, again, terrible, in which you've given up 30-plus points in 3 straight games. And Dinwiddie is just like, he also didn't learn because he didn't take out Jake Maier. Sorry, if he's trying to lose, well, he's doing a great job of doing it, but he was brought in to improve a team who won 4 games, and he's made them worse somehow. So my thing is, he was either brought in and was told he can make this team suck as much as he wants. Okay, yeah, but if Dinwiddie is as good as and as great of a coach as he is, then obviously he's done the complete opposite of being a real smart guy, because he let go debate that Drew Brown might be a little bit better than Jake Maier. But obviously the situation has become great. Can't blame the kicker. No, you can't. Walker's, but you can blame the fact that Dinwiddie has decided not to try and make improvements. He's decided to keep around Jake Maier, who has not been the issue, but he's also not been the solution so far. But debatably, when there's been a great game, they haven't built on it. It doesn't feel like. It doesn't feel like, maybe they have built on it, but it doesn't feel like they've learned the lessons that they should have been learning. Yeah, but Dinwiddie should have been fixing it this year.
The only thing I will say for Jake Maier, and this is kind of what I wanted to get to, I actually feel bad for Jake Maier, and let me explain. Jake Maier was brought in to be a journeyman backup. Instead, he was thrown into a starter role, has been okay. Hasn't been phenomenal, but he hasn't been god-awful. And everyone's talking to him like he played like Trey Ford. And I feel bad for the guy, because I know he's not the reason why they're winning, but I don't think you can blame him for every loss either. And everyone says they just should have kept Drew Brown. Drew Brown and Jake Maier's stats this year are almost identical. Personally, if you want to go down to players they should have kept, I think Dustin Crum was a diamond in the rough, and they just let him walk. I also think Ottawa should have went after guys like Trey Ford to see what they could do under an offense built around him specifically. I would have liked to see them bring in competition for the starting role, and instead, McLeod Bethel-Thompson I still don't think is the answer if you're Ottawa. But funny enough, though, we could make the same arguments about Calgary. When you look at the Calgary Stampeders, this is back-to-back years where at the midpoint of the season, they seem to be really falling apart. So if you remember last year, Calgary started at 4-1. Everyone thought Calgary was going to win the West, myself included. And then they just completely fell apart. You're looking at Calgary here on paper. They have a quarterback that throws less than 1% of his passes into interceptions. You have the best running back in the CFL, arguably in Dedrick Mills. You have the best defensive line in the CFL. You create the most turnovers in the CFL. Yet you can't win a football game. you can't get a timely stop on defense. Like, I would actually argue the Stamps situation is similar to Ottawa, where you have lost 5 games in the final 3 minutes. Now, you have lost 6 games, and 5 of them you have blown leads in the final 3 minutes. It's just absolutely ludicrous. You can't learn from that mistake.
Yeah.
I just, and Isidore, to answer your question quickly on Jake Maier is the lowest paid starting quarterback in the CFL. He actually makes less than Nick Arbuckle, who is a backup in Toronto. Just to put that into perspective. And yeah, I do agree with you, Bobby. The Stamps are playing brutal at home. The only thing is, though, and look, I don't like calling out fan bases for not showing up, because I know the fans who go to games, even when they're not big crowds, are passionate fans. And there are passionate fans in Calgary. But it's also difficult when, let's be honest, no one's there and the stadium's as quiet as a mouse. At least that's what it sounds like on TV. Maybe the atmosphere is better in person. And I know tonight the weather was really bad and it was cold. But you do wonder, is that part of the reasons why Calgary's struggling at home? But then you look at Winnipeg. They have arguably the loudest crowd in the CFL. Rider fans, don't hate me. And you know what? They're struggling at home too. So I think if you're Calgary, though, I will make the same argument and bring up the same points Adam made. Calgary in back-to-back years are struggling in the mid-half of the year. You have lost 5 games in the final 3 minutes. You have lost back-to-back games losing a play on man coverage on a chunk play on a deep ball. Those are back-to-back games you lost the exact same way. When is Dave Dickinson going to learn and stop playing man coverage in the final 3 minutes when your DBs clearly can't cover it? Like, Rick, I'm curious, do you get what I'm saying there? Like, do you think Calgary's got to learn that they can't keep playing man coverage in these final 3 minutes? It's clearly not working.
I mean, clearly something has to happen to Hamilton, because we always blow leads in the fourth quarter.
Fair enough.
But I was going to say...
I said that about Milanovic, but sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say to Bobby's comment above, so it's actually Ottawa Sports and Entertainment Group that own both the Red Blacks and the 67s. Because he was asking earlier who owns the team. Well, that's who owns.
The sad thing is, I'm pretty sure Ottawa's towards the top of the cap.
That's scary.
Like, they're spending money. Like, they spend a lot of money.
So
yeah, but their GM is terrible at his job.
Totally agree with this comment, Glenn. And welcome to the analyst desk. I do believe you are a new viewer. And if you are a new viewer, please subscribe to the channel. We did hit over 275 today, so now the next goal is 300. 100 times 3 is where we want to be. So, Glenn, if you do enjoy the content and enjoy, interacting with us, please do subscribe to the channel. If anyone who's watching on either YouTube, Facebook, or X, please do join the community.
So you're paying Jake Maier about 2 to 263. 175 to 180 for Greg Bell, 120 to 158 for Daniel Adnaboye. Eugene Lewis, you were paying 239 for the season before he got cut.
Feasibly accessible to know who
Justin Hardy
is a part of that court, by the way. Bobby.
Justin Hardy, you're paying 210,000, and Aiden Eberhardt, you're paying almost 142. Let's say about 143,000 per year for the next 2 years, each year.
Hey, thank you very much, Glenn. Appreciate it. An awesome ball hockey pick too. So the interesting thing is, now this is from a Google search in ChatGPT. It's tough to find out salary caps in the CFL because they're not public. But from what information is out there, get this: the Ottawa Red Blacks are projected to be over the cap by $18,000 and facing penalties next year. So the ownership group is spending money. Like, and I will say, from an ownership perspective, they do a great job with fan engagement. The atmosphere is really good in Ottawa. It's a nice stadium. Food could be better. But I mean, overall, it's a good environment. And I've heard that the Lansdowne Sports Group, sorry, I know they changed their name now, but they're a great organization to work with. It's just
downtown, that area is also beautiful.
It is. Like, they're in such a nice spot.
It's a nice area. The issue is that their GM is incompetent. That's the obvious issue. They're spending money, but they're their GM is an idiot. To say for a nicer word, he's an idiot. He doesn't know how to do the job that he begged for. He begged Toronto for the job, didn't get it. And so he decided to whine like a little crybaby, decided to leave, and he got the job in Ottawa, and first chance he gets, he screws it up. He doesn't know how to be a GM. He's terrible at it. I have no confidence that Dinwiddie as a GM can fix the issues that he himself has caused. He caused these terrible issues with this team because he built the team. He built parts of this team. He put this team together, and he's a terrible GM so far. He's made his own job more difficult as a coach. Go ahead, Rick, sir.
So Pendleton's making 135. Lewis Ward, they don't need Lewis Ward, but he's making 122.
I don't think he is either, drinking hand.
Niles Morgan's making 142. Frankie Griffin's making 130. So you have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 minus 2. So you have 12 people making more than 100,000 on their team.
They're spending the money. It's just the problem is you can't fix the running game by getting a good running back and not improving the offensive line. It's kind of like getting a sniper in hockey and not getting them a playmaker. Like picture Alexander Ovechkin's career as a whole without Nick Backstrom on his line for the majority of his career. Ovechkin would not have broken Wayne Gretzky's records. And I think for Greg Bell, he had such a good offensive line in Hamilton. Mind you, Hamilton's running game with Roundtree's been kind of up and down too. But it's just one of those things for Ottawa. I don't think Dinwiddie addressed the issues correctly. Like he went out and I understand letting Drew Brown go because he was 2-7 as a starter last year. But thinking Jake Maier is going to be the solution, I feel bad for the guy, but it was insane. Jake Maier's not the solution. Like, if he went out and got Trey Ford and it blew up in his face, I'd be like, you know what? I could understand thinking Trey Ford might be the solution. Or even Taylor Powell, who's now the backup in Edmonton. I'm actually really big on Taylor Powell. I think he's going to be really good one day. Or they went out and got, I don't know, a guy in the UFL who was really good. I can't think of a name right now, but like if he went out and did something fine, but Jake Maier has proven he's not a starting quarterback. He proved it in Calgary. He proved it in Saskatchewan. And unfortunately, now he's proving it in Ottawa. And also, too, the offensive line, again, is just terrible. It doesn't matter what quarterback you have. I mean, Dustin Crum was so mobile, he really made up for the terrible offensive line. Also, too, what other quarterbacks do you see them trucking, the other team defenders? Like, I absolutely love Dustin Crum. But I don't know. I just look at Ottawa, and I'll even say the same thing about Calgary. They've spent so much money on their defensive line. Now their secondary is terrible. And now Calgary too. Let's say Vernon Adams Jr. is out. You spend a bunch of money on your defensive line. You went out and got even more receivers. Now you have Alford, Joe, Bengleton's on his way back, and you didn't spend money on a backup quarterback. And if Josh Love's your backup, if he has to start a couple games in Calgary, and if BC keeps winning, Calgary might fall into the picture. Go ahead, Adam.
Drinking hand, I won't stop it because you've said how smart Dinwiddie is and how great of a coach he is. Sorry, he basically pouted until he got a job that included the GM role. He wanted this job, and then he goes ahead and fails at it. So far, he has been an utter failure at being a GM.
Okay, so Adam, I have a question for you after you're done.
Okay, but he hasn't fixed the issues. And why in out of all the information he has on Jake Maier being a starter in Calgary, he clearly didn't do any homework thinking that Jake Maier was going to be a godsend for this Ottawa team and was a better option than any of the other options that he had when he came over to Ottawa. Sorry, that isn't a sign of somebody using their brain and doing their job correctly. Because clearly he just didn't do his own homework. He followed his massive ego that he has. And fair enough, he's won 2 Grey Cups in 3 years. Fair enough. He deserves to have it. But clearly he needs somebody whispering in his ears and bringing him down a little bit, bringing him down to earth a little bit, you know, and telling him, dude, maybe get some other opinions on stuff. You know what? Gather opinions in the room. Listen to people a little bit more experienced than you are in this job, because he came into this job with an ego thinking, and he's messed up. He's built a terrible roster, and then he's made his own job as a head coach even more difficult. I have no faith that he's going to fix any of the issues, because he clearly doesn't know what the damn issues are. He doesn't, because he's still not trying to fix them. Rick, what was your question that you wanted from me?
No, so my whole thing was, okay, so if you're using that lingo for Ryan Dinwiddie, that means that Ryan Dinwiddie should theoretically be good next year, because if Mark Killam was garbage last year and all of a sudden he becomes good this year, then that means that Ryan Dinwiddie was garbage this year and he should be good next year.
The only thing I will say to that is I think the major difference.
He should learn and improve on his job, though. To be fair, first year GM. Okay, so in your second year, he has now had a full year on the job, learning about what the full aspects of his job are. So he should improve next year on his job, because he has a year now under his belt on a new job, a job he clearly thought he was going to be a great at, and he wasn't. So he's got to, at the end of the day, if we'll see if he's improved and if he's learned his lessons this year, because clearly there are lessons for him to learn about being a GM, and I hope he does improve. If he does improve, well, good for him then. Then he's learned. He's learned what he did wrong this past offseason. And at the end of the day, I think if you don't improve a year after you have a new job, then you never should have had your job in the first place, because you're clearly not paying attention.
It is half a year drinking ham, but I think they're kind of referencing by the end of the season going into next. And the only thing I kind of did want to say when you're comparing Edmonton, I think that's, when I said earlier
no,
in
I
the
wouldn't
show,
hire him next year. I wouldn't.
When I said earlier in the show, I think Ottawa's just got to find a way, even if they can just win 3 or 4 games to close out the year, just to have something to build off of for next. Edmonton, towards the end of the year, started to figure things out. If you remember, Rick, I don't think you were doing shows with us yet last year, and Adam, you weren't either, I don't think, actually. But Edmonton was starting to figure it out, and there was a glimmer of hope that they were going to make the playoffs last year. And then they ended up not making it, as to be expected. But I think they built off that and started to find a way to build for the future. If you're Ottawa, if you can just find a way to even just get 3 or 4 wins to close out the year and just, improve, learn from those mistakes. And out of the last 10, if you win 4, you know what? Then that's something you can at least build off of. But I think for Ottawa, they just got to find a way to start winning football games. Right now, they're not winning football games. Ryan Dinwiddie is under contract for another 3 years in Ottawa, which I get at the end of the day, Ryan Dinwiddie did win 2 Grey Cup rings, but that's when he was just a coach and an OC. Maybe he's not a good GM. He hasn't had the job long enough to really tell if he is or not. But maybe there's a reason why, besides of, Michael Pinball Clements being Pinball, I don't fire Pinball. Excuse me. That Toronto didn't feel Dinwiddie could handle the job. And, sometimes you're just wearing too many hats. He's only got one head. But on that bombshell, I think it's time we wrap up the show.
Just before we do, I just want to give a shout out to the women's flag football team, who is now 2-0 in their tournaments.
Great job.
Canada won tonight. So we just need to win our last 2 games. Our last 2 games, and the men's will be in the playoff bracket. And if we win, we get a spot in the Olympics.
Also, I don't know if you guys have been following the NFL preseason, but Curtis Rourke had his first action today. So that's Nathan Rourke's younger brother.
But he did leave the game injured, though.
Oh, that's too bad.
Hey,
He actually looked pretty decent.
Jacob, I just want to be a real smart ass for a second here. Drink in hand. You actually didn't specify what job would I hire Dinwiddie for, because he is a coach / GM now. Drink in hand. So you know what? Maybe next time specify which one you mean, because he didn't say what job I wouldn't hire him for.
So one last thing now that we're talking CFL in the NFL. Dante Myers had 1 rush for 13 yards and 3 receptions for 29 yards in the Bengals game tonight.
Very nice.
Ooh.
But on your way.
But no, I believe Curtis Rourke, I think it was like 10 for 12 and just over 100 yards. It's not.
Yeah, it was 10 for 12, 101 yards. And then he
not bad. You know what? Not bad at all.
With rib injury or something like that.
Let's hope he's all right.
Too. With probably the backup.
Because he is battling for the 3rd position there. So fingers crossed he can get it done.
3rd strings even. You know what? That's pretty good.
But on that bombshell, it is time we wrap up the show for the evening, morning, afternoon, whatever time zone you're in. I want to thank everyone for joining us in the comment section where we have these great conversations and even the disagreements, right? It's part of our show, part of our roundtable discussions. I do want to thank the new subscribers who joined the Analyst Desk community tonight. And I also want to thank everyone for checking us out on Twitter. This was a very busy live stream for viewership on Twitter. Yay! And we do appreciate that as always. And if you haven't given us a follow on Twitter, Adam, I'm an old man.
Jacob, stop dead naming X. Come on, man.
Listen.
Get with the times. Be like your brother, Jacob. Be like your older brother and be real woke. You know
Adam.
what? That would upset me if I gave a care what some random person on YouTube thinks of me.
Adam, stop hanging out with your ex on social media.
Yeah, Adam. Look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Yeah, look at my adorable face. I'm so adorable.
And on that bombshell,
I'm a little
I want to thank everyone for joining us at the Analyst Desk, where every day indeed does feel like game day. We'll be back tomorrow. And, of course, drink in hand. It's all respect. We appreciate your viewership and your comments. We all know it's all love here at the Analyst Desk. Don't go chasing waterfalls because they're stationary kind of deal. We'll be back tomorrow to break down Ottawa versus Winnipeg. We're going to have even more debates on what's wrong with Ottawa. And until next time, thank you to the beautiful crew.
Body break.
And remember, at the Analyst Desk, every day feels like game day. Bye-bye.
It's the Analyst Desk. Welcome to the show. It's the Analyst Desk. Yeah, in case you didn't know, it's the Analyst Desk. Welcome to the show where every day feels like game day, bro.